First, let's just show a few things that I didn't show you in the first one about navigating. First of all, if you hold down Shift and scroll, you can move up and down. If you hold down Shift and then click your middle mouse button and drag your mouse around, it'll do that. If you hold down Control and scroll, it'll go side to side instead of up and down like with the Shift. And if you hold down Control and hit your middle mouse button and drag, it'll zoom in and out. And that's the first thing. Second of all, if you come down here to this line and you right click right there and you say split area and then left click, you can split it into two areas. You can do the same thing with this line, split area, split area. Okay, and now we have four areas, and that can be really helpful to work with if you have four different things you want, one in side view and one in front view, or you can also change it into a different screen. Like I could have this as the buttons window. I don't know why you would want that, but you could. And then to get rid of that, just right click again, hit join areas. You have this arrow and left click on the arrow, join areas, left click on the arrow. Okay, so one other thing, if you're working up here and you need like a bigger window, so you minimize this, but you still want to see something that's like up here that you can't get to, just hold down the middle mouse button and do that. You can also hit Alt and click. Next, let's look at some modifiers. One modifier that I use a lot is subsurf. So if we click on subsurf, it looks like it got a lot more complex, but if we go into edit mode, we can see it really didn't. If we move that around, it doesn't do anything. Except, I mean, it does a little bit, but it's not, you can't move these faces individually. So it doesn't take up as much memory and it won't slow down your computer as much, but it still looks better. So, but also you can't control as much there. You don't have as much freedom to do what you want there. One thing you can do here is click this little circle in modifiers, and it looks like you fixed that whole problem, but you didn't. It's still, you can't get that. So let's click this X and go back to object mode. Let's look at another modifier. Let's see bevel. Bevel you use quite a bit in some things, depending on what you're using. And again, you can't edit that in edit mode, but it still looks like that when you render it. One more, let's see, build. If we go into edit mode here and subdivide it like 3 times, and then go back into object mode and advance the frames, you can see it builds it. You can also randomize that, so that can be helpful. Let's get out of that one. Now we're going to look at a really useful one. First, go into edit mode. Remember, A deselects and selects everything, and then B does that, and then just drag around it and click X or delete for vertices. Now let's go back to object mode, and go to modifier mirror. Alright, now if we go back into edit mode and say we select this, it moves on both sides, and that is really, really helpful doing things symmetrically, or anything that's symmetric. It would take so much longer to do it without mirror on, and if you can't get it exact, it just ruins everything. So now let's take a look at the lamp. There's a few options here. When you go into the shading tab, it should automatically be on lamp. You can change it from a lamp to an area, a spot, a sun, or a hemi. Let's look just at a spotlight right now. You can change this, and then you can change the color. Let's make it like a blue. This is the angle here of the lamp, and then let's just turn on halo for fun. That'll show the beam here. So when we hit F12 to render, you can actually see the beam here, and that's pretty cool. You can also change the energy here, make it brighter or darker. You can do a lot of things here. You can make it even negative to take away light. There's a lot of things in here that you can do with that. Now, let's look at probably the most important part of this tutorial, which is basic animations that I want to show you. Just a really simple basic animation that you can do. First of all, let's set the background color to white. Then let's take our default cube and we're going to press I. And that brings up this menu. And I am going to say Lockrot Scale. That stands for Location, Rotation, Scale. If we just wanted to save the location or rotation on this frame, we would have hit Lock or Rot, or the size scale. But we want to save everything for this particular frame, so when we go 10 frames forward by hitting up on the arrow keys, and then we say GX2, which moves the cube along the x-axis 2 units, and then we hit I again, Lockrot Scale. Now if we go back to 1, it's back here, and then if we were to do it frame by frame, it would look like that. So then let's go 10 frames ahead again, and let's say GZ2, and then R45, which means, Y45, which means it rotated on the y-axis 45 degrees, and then I, Lockrot Scale. Now we have the nice little animation, and let's make sure we can see it all in there. And then let's change the color a little bit just for fun. Let's make it white, and then go into shaders here. You don't need to do this. This is a little bit more advanced. And then emit just makes it brighter. And then let's see how that looks right now. Something else that can be fun is if you go to world buttons over here. There's mist and stars here. Mist just basically has mist. I mean, that's, you don't really need me to explain that, but it'll see this line here is the mist. It's not a great example there, but there we go. Now you can't see anything because of the mist. And then stars. Now, right now when we render, it won't show anything because it's a white background. But if we were to go to color noise, then it would change the noise. It'll change the colors, so we can have many multicolored stars, which is strange. I don't think I usually see pink stars, but whatever. But I mean, there's a few things you can do in here. Ambient occlusion makes it better quality. It looks better usually. Sometimes it doesn't. And then the last thing I'm going to show you in this tutorial is go to the rendering tab here. And first let's set our frames to 21 like I showed you in the first tutorial, and JPEG, set it to AVI RAW this time because it's video, and we don't need to worry about any of this unless you want to like set it to black and white. But since we have such an awesome tutorial here, obviously, we want it to be a really good quality. So let's make it HD, and that's 1920 by 1080 in the size X and Y, and then the aspect ratio here changed too. And there's a few things you can do. You can bake in here, although usually you aren't going to bake here. You'll already have it baked. But and ambient occlusion again. But then you can just animate, and you'll have your nice HD, beautiful animation that's